It is crime time here on Closing Arguments. Let's bring in tonight's guest. Joining me, former police officer Joe Ested. Joe is also a former sheriff's deputy and police investigator. He served in Afghanistan as a police advisor, is the author of the book Police Brutality Matters, and the host of the Police Brutality Matters show on YouTube. Check it out. Also with us, a major with the Cobb County Sheriff's Office Community Engagement, Stephen Gaynor. Stephen served 28 years with the Cobb County Police Department, working in the robbery, homicide, special victims, criminal investigations, and training units. Great to have you both here. Stephen, we'll try to hook you up here at some point, but we got you by phone, which is great. We're covering the trial of Brett Hankinson, one of the officers involved in the botched raid at Breonna Taylor's apartment. And today, the officer who actually shot and killed Breonna Taylor, the issue came up about whether or not he's going to testify. Apparently, he's going to take the fifth. Let's take a listen.
Ms. Whaley, I think you may be the one who subpoenaed Mr. Cosgrove.
That's correct, Your Honor. The Commonwealth did serve a subpoena on, actually through his attorney, Mr. Beck, and that he accepted the subpoena, and that was several weeks or months ago. And then I was informed last week by Mr. Beck that the witness now is intending to assert his Fifth Amendment privilege. I believe, and Mr. Beck can speak to the reason behind that claim.
All right. Mr. Beck?
Yes, Your Honor. First, of course, I'd just like to thank the court for accommodating us by telephone this morning. I have represented Mr. Cosgrove in terms of criminal matters since mid-2020. And of course, I know the court is aware of some of the background here, but there's a federal grand jury that's been impaneled in Louisville to review the circumstances of the Breonna Taylor case. Initially, it was my understanding that that investigation was going to focus only on the warrant for Ms. Taylor's residence, while the state investigation was going to cover the shooting component.
All right, we've got Joe Ested, Major Stephen Gaynor with us. Joe Ested, so he's taken the fifth, the officer who shot and killed Breonna Taylor in this case against another officer that was there, because a federal grand jury is looking at the case. You think it's fair at this point that he's been cleared by the state for the shooting, that he still has this hanging over his head? And what's that like for an officer?
I mean, it's a part of the process. So if he has to answer to it, then he has to answer to it. But, you know, there's a lot of pressure from this case because of those elements. So if he's been if he's performing in the actions of his duties, then I was always told, tell the people, you're a law enforcement, you're a trained professional. Don't never be afraid to express exactly what you do. If you have to explain it, explain it.
Major Stephen Gaynor, so you've got someone who's a witness for the case against one officer, unable to testify because his attorney says the feds are still looking at the Breonna Taylor shooting, so there's potential criminal liability there, so he's not going to say anything. What are your thoughts about that? You know, he's been cleared by state investigators, but you still have the feds kind of hanging over his head here.
Well, if it's still pending a case, you're still in jeopardy. I can see his point and his attorney's advice telling him not to testify. I understand that, you know, he's just going to tell the truth, but he's got a pending lawsuit against him, and he just wants to be safe and protect himself. So I can see his grounds for not testifying in this case. He's really not part of this particular case, as we talked about previously. This guy fired into a separate apartment where he was the shooter in the Breonna Taylor case.
All right, and we're going to keep our eye on all the developments in that case. Joe Ested, Major Stephen Gaynor staying with us. We've got more crime time straight ahead.
What y'all watching? Whatever you like. Hello, somebody. Okay.
That's the only channel comes in clear around here.
That show is still on? We're on season 49.
Shocking, yet exhilarating.
Look at God. Won't he do it? Yes, it will.
What if the news lets you see, hear, and think
for yourself.
We are at the absolute dawn of this, of seeing where this goes.
Introducing a new point of view. Yours. Newsy. Watch free 24/7.
Free Movie Channel has something for everyone. Find your new favorite movie tonight.
Venga para la puerta y nos vamos. Solo queremos averiguar que esté bien usted. ¿La tiene detenida? She's just saying go away. Alfredo! Just have your mom come to the door and we'll leave. He's saying put the rifle away. He's saying put the rifle away. She's crying. She's crying, saying no, 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 no.
Based upon what the officers heard, they believed that the female inside of the residence was being harmed and forced entry.
Go away.
He has a knife to her. He has a knife to her. Put it down. 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 Put it down now.
Grab his legs and drag him off.
Medical aid was immediately summoned. However, the suspect succumbed to his injuries. The female victim was transported to an area hospital with several stab wounds.
What a tense situation. How do you decide when to shoot? You've got a situation here where the suspect has a hostage, Major Stephen Gaynor, holding a knife up to her. Police, they're all there. They can see exactly what's happening. And you've got the victim and the suspect like right next to each other on that same chair. How do you make that decision as to when to fire the weapon under those types of circumstances?
Well, Vinnie, this is one of those split-second decisions you've got to make in a hurry, and you can feel the tension. I can feel it through the listening to that recording, and it's just intense. And the officers coming in have to make that split second. They see that the female is injured, and they to save her life, they've got to take his, and that's what happens.
How difficult is it in this situation? You have two people right next to each other on the chair. He's holding a knife up to her. They're both in that same space. How difficult is it to get a clean shot there without harming the victim?
Well, they got up really close. You saw them get up as close as they could before they took the shot. So you have to get up that close unless you're a really, really good shot under a tense situation.
All right, final story tonight comes to us from KNXV in Phoenix. Allison Rodriguez is the reporter. A woman's photos are used in a catfishing scam.
This is an instance where it's come offline and it's very terrifying.
Cynthia Sassy lives her life online. It's where she runs her business called Fabulous Arizona. But being so public took a turn recently when weird messages started coming into her email.
Who is Cynthia Sassy? She's scamming people. I need to know more about her.
First to her employees, then to her, and moments later, a scary message coming from her apartment complex.
The front office calls me and they're very concerned. Someone has called the front office looking for me.
It was a man who flew to Arizona from New York to meet Cynthia. He says they've been talking online through WhatsApp and Google for months. Only the real Cynthia had no idea.
I did call the person because I was just I need to get to the bottom of what's going on here. He says, do you have a boyfriend? And I said, yes. And he goes, is his name Eric? And I said, no. And he goes, yes, it is. He's like, I'm Eric. I'm your boyfriend.
Through that phone conversation, Cynthia learns this man thinks he's been talking to her for months and thinks they're dating.
He sent me screenshots of their conversations. And this person was taking videos off of my Instagram account and sending them to him directly as if they were me.
She believes he may have sent this imposter money too. And sadly, this man is not the only person duped this way. In 2021, the FTC reported victims had lost a record high $547 million in romance scams. Cybersecurity expert Victor Benjamin says these kinds of threats don't stop, they just evolve.
There is somewhat of an arms race between the people who are proliferating, fake content on these platforms and trying to scam people versus the actual social media platforms.
She's making changes to what she posts online too, and thankful her followers have encouraged her to stay online. And Benjamin says that is one way to take power back.
How to best defend yourself against it, having frequent communication with your users, building trust with your users so that they would know, this behavior is typical from this person.
Reporting in Phoenix, Allison Rodriguez, ABC 15, Arizona.
All right, what can you do to protect yourself from these types of scams? This one has a couple of different layers to it. Joe Ested, I want to go to you. For the woman whose identity is really being stolen, right? People, it's part of marketing, it's part of her business, but people live their lives online now. There's pictures, photos, so much information. How do you protect yourself from someone using that to create this other persona who is you?
Yeah, it is big business, and it just keeps going up every year. We see how big this business is. It's scam. I will have all these safeguards with your credit. Try to limit as much information you can putting online. But like you said, we pay everything. We do everything. We pay bills. We're always constantly inputting information, our personal information online. Monitor it. You have monitoring companies. I even have it for my own credit to make sure that as soon as it's used, you get these notifications. And never send money to anybody when you start talking about meeting somebody online. That's a key factor. They're doing this for money. So their goal is to get you to send them money. And that's probably the biggest flag that you can be aware of, somebody requesting money.
Major Stephen Gaynor, I'm still shocked that people can be duped. Like, I understand it happens, but without ever having that face-to-face conversation, because with phones now, you can have a face-to-face conversation.
Right. Now, our criminal investigations unit handles a bunch of these romance scams, and they're not like this one. They're usually just an individual from overseas, maybe from Iraq, that's a prince, that he's got, lots of money. He just falls in love with you on the internet, and he gets people here, or she gets people here to send lots of money. This is all around the country, and you cannot convince people to stop sending it. I had a mother whose kids tried to tell her that this guy didn't exist, and she just sent him $180,000 because she loved him, and He didn't even exist. And we showed her that he didn't exist,
and she
wouldn't believe it.
She still didn't believe it.
She didn't believe it.
And it's tough because people are lonely. People want to find love. They make that connection. Joe Ested, I'll give you the final word here. We have about 10 seconds here. Are you protecting yourself on your TikTok dance videos that you've posted? I've seen them. I've seen them, Joe.
Yeah, I made sure I took the ones with you in it out of it.
Good stuff.
But please, anybody who's asking for money, stay away from those. Big
Absolutely. Joe Ested, Major Stephen Gaynor, thank you both so much. We appreciate it. We'll see you again soon. All right, folks, before we go tonight, I have a picture I need to show you of a missing child. Richard Palmer is his name.